Hi, and thank you. Today we're going to be talking about anger, challenging traditional concepts of anger, what it is, ways to use it, and ways to learn to harness its power so that it can actually make our lives better. So thank you for spending this time with us. So I just want to start with a little bit of understanding here. I think a lot of times we see anger and we wonder in a lot of ways, well, what is it? Anger seems to be one of the most misunderstood emotions that people have. We all experience it, but for the most part, we aren't taught much about it. Some individuals go to anger management, listen to pop psychological gurus, we gain insight wherever we can, and for the most part, we end up making mistakes. And when we are successful with anger, a lot of times, we're not aware of why that is. Now, when it comes to anger management, for me, I struggle with that concept. You see, I don't feel that anger wants to be managed. See, anger wants our attention. Anger, like all emotions, has a purpose. It wants to be listened to. Anger is a secondary emotion, and that means that it's a response to something else. Anger is not usually the primary emotion that we experience, although it's powerful. It's actually something reflecting another experience or another emotion. So one of the ways I like to explain it, and one of the reasons why you're looking at a big slide of a baby right now, is because that's the way that I feel is useful when we talk about anger, to have an understanding of it, an understanding of its impact in our life. So think about it. Many of you here have children, and when a baby cries, it's disturbing. We hear it, and there's something visceral about it in us. There's an intense awareness of what it is that's going on, that something's going on for this child, and what do we have to do? Now, our responses usually fall into a couple different categories. And again, if you're a parent, you don't have to admit which one you prefer. But when a baby cries, you can, choose to ignore the baby. Just pretend it's not crying, hope that it settles down on its own. Or you can yell at the baby. You could lose control, God forbid. Many people, unfortunately, lose control with their child and start to almost imitate the baby's helplessness and scream, yell. And sometimes that results in even injuring the child. So they can yell at the baby. Or the third way is they can actually turn towards the baby. You know, find out what the baby wants. Try to figure out what the baby's crying about. Now, of the three options, I need you to think which one is most constructive. And you'll probably find that turning towards the baby will give us the best results. We want to find out, is the baby wet? Is the baby dirty? Is the baby hungry? Is the baby cold? Babies are incredibly sensitive, and they don't have a defensive structure. So they're constantly aware of things, and they can be constantly upset as a result. So, you know, we want to be treating anger in the same way. Anger is like that baby. It's an intense experience. And it's also a sign that there's something going on inside of us, something that we need to be tender to. With babies, you take a tender approach if you love the child. And if you love yourself, when you're angry, one of the great things that I want to impart to you is that you want to be tender to yourself in that emotion of anger, just because we want to be able to hold it and understand that it has a constructive element to it. The thing about anger is that if you ignore it, it's not probably going to go away. It may, It may go inward and turn into a depressive state where you start to beat yourself up. But if you tell anger to go away, a lot of times, the more you try to stuff it, the more it keeps coming back up. And sometimes our judgments of anger, actually, I should say most of the time, our judgment of anger makes it actually get louder. It's like we're not responding. So just like a baby, the baby gets louder, and the emotion of anger just gets louder the more we try to push it away. And anger is not the only emotion, that's constructive. All emotions are constructive. And we, in this conversation today, I want you to, really understand that, I encourage you to really listen to your anger, to move to a place where you're accepting of it and you literally befriend it. You understand that it serves a purpose. It's not there to disrupt your life. It's not there because it's an annoyance. Again, we don't want to judge anger. I'm going to show you why in a little bit. We want to be able to pair up with it, to partner with it, to let it inform us, to tell us something's amiss, and we need to listen to that and not get lost in the intensity. Now, it's imperative, that you understand that if we don't work with it, the anger becomes destructive.